You're now tuned in to Thoughts of a Black Sheep. And guess what? I got some thoughts. All right, real quick. I want to do this video. I want to show 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 different clips. 2 of them from in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Our mayor was talking about the phase 1 process and what we need to do and all that stuff. So I want y'all to check that out. And I got the mayor, this guy named Jim Bernhardt, I believe, and the president, Donald Trump. They all talking. And I'm telling you, what's finna happen, coming to a hood near you, they finna try to force people to test and vaccinate. They finna do it, I'm telling you. They planning on having the vaccine by December. So actually it's gonna be a couple of months before December. Listen to what I'm telling you. And a lot of y'all don't believe that these people will try to force something. They have been forcing a lot of stuff on us, and we haven't paid attention enough to understand until it's too late. But they finna put a lot of people under control. But listen at these clips and you make your own judgment. Just like the mayor finna say in this first clip. She said you got to use judgment. Make sure you use judgment. All right.
I want to reinforce a very important message to our community. We still live in a very serious time. We are still in the midst of a pandemic. It is an absolute must that everyone use good judgment during this time. Entering phase 1 is not a return to normal. We will likely not see a return to normal until there's a vaccine. Please continue to practice physical distancing. Please wash your hands regularly. And please wear a mask when you are in public. I'm asking everyone to take this very seriously. All of us, especially vulnerable residents, are still at risk, and that has not changed. If we don't practice these basic safety habits, we will see a new outbreak in our community. And unfortunately, more deaths will occur. And we will have to return to a stay-at-home order. None of us wants that. My message to our community as we enter into phase 1 in our new reality, our new environment is this. Our community has been in dark tunnels before. We've been shaken before, and we've emerged better, stronger, and greater for the experience. Oliver Wendell Holmes once said, "A mind that is stretched by new experiences can never go back to its old dimensions." With this pandemic, we are navigating in this tunnel together. And today we start outlining the way our community will soon start to see the light at the end of this tunnel. I want to thank all of our...
How are we doing today? All right. My name is Jim Bernhardt. I am the managing partner of Bernhardt Capital Partners. During my lifetime in Louisiana, I've had the opportunity to work with some great companies, and I believe I've created with my companies more jobs than any single company in Louisiana. We own companies such as the Shaw Group, Brown & Root, Epic Fabricators, Bernhardt Energy. We also own companies Epic, ATC, etc. Currently, we have over 30,000 employees. So when the mayor asked me to help with the committee to say, what will bring Baton Rouge back faster? What will bring Baton Rouge more employment quicker? You know, this was something I thought that I could add value to. But I've also been through tragedy. I was there on Tiananmen Square. I was there on 9/11. I was there I left the week before the Taj Mahal, and I was there on Katrina having pumped the city of New Orleans out. This combined is nothing compared to what we have today. Employment. Businesses will come to cities and areas where it's safe. They will simply leave if it's not. Baton Rouge has an opportunity to be a safe city. We will not expand employees where it's unsafe. No one will. You can't ask someone to come to Baton Rouge if Austin, Texas is safer. They won't come. And everyone sits here and says, what can I do? How can I make Baton Rouge safer? If you wear this hot, sticky, inconvenient mask on your face, you have less than 1.5% chance of conveying the virus or catching it to someone else. Virtually nil if you simply wear a mask. So what does that mean? You have a chance to sit at LSU football stadium. You have a chance to have your job back. So I would get my job back anywhere. I have 30,000 employees, and I will tell you that that's just not the case. You know, it's a grand reopening if it's safe. When are you going to go down to an area that you deem unsafe with your family and enjoy dinner? Wait for a vaccine or start to put a mask on. You need to lead by example to your children, to other businesses. All my businesses wear masks. Most industrial plants wear masks. And the people that we do business with, the companies that we do business with, will have a mask policy. So put on your mask, permanent Mardi Gras, and mask up. That's how you can help. So let's not say, oh, I forgot, it's too hot outside. Doggone right it's too hot outside. It reminds me of when I'm old enough to tell you seatbelts. They literally used to cut them out of their car because they were uncomfortable, they wrinkled their dress, etc. But now it's unheard of not to wear your seatbelt. And that was protecting you. A mask protects not only you, but someone else. So mask up, and let's make Baton Rouge the safe city. LSU and Southern, the safe universities. Thank you.
Whatsoever. Mayor? Operation Warp Speed is also making the necessary preparations to distribute these life-saving treatments at scale. So we're talking about massive numbers so that millions of Americans will quickly have access to them. This includes ramping up production of supplies needed for distribution. And I have to say, we're also very, very much involved in other things other than the vaccine. If you take a look at what we're doing beyond vaccines, it's going to be very interesting, and we may talk about that in a little while. But this includes ramping up production of supplies needed for distribution, such as cold chain storage, glass vials, needles, syringes, and more. We'll have everything right on hand, ready to go. When a vaccine is ready, the U.S. government will deploy every plane, truck, and soldier required to help distribute it to the American people as quickly as possible. America is blessed to have the most brilliant, talented doctors and researchers anywhere in the world. We have the mightiest military by far in the world. Our military is completely rebuilt. Much of the equipment has been delivered. Some of it's on the way, all made right here in the USA. We took over very, very empty cupboards, I say medically. We also had empty cupboards in a military sense. Our military was in sad shape. It was depleted. We now have the strongest military the United States has ever had by far, and the best equipment. And you hear that outside, that beautiful sound. Those are truckers that are with us all the way. They're protesting in favor of President Trump as opposed to against. There's hundreds of trucks out there, and that's the sign of love, not the sign of your typical protest. So I want to thank our great truckers. They like me and I like them. We're working on something together. But we have the mightiest, and they'll be helping us with this, by the way, speaking of truckers. We have the mightiest military in the long history of humankind. We have the best and most devoted workers ever to walk the face of the earth. And now we're combining all of these amazing strengths for the most aggressive vaccine project in history. There's never been a vaccine project anywhere in history like this. And I just want to make something clear. It's very important. Vaccine or no vaccine, we're back. And we're starting the process. And in many cases, they don't have vaccines. And a virus or a flu comes, and you fight through it. We haven't seen anything like this in 100 and some odd years, 1917. But you fight through it, and people sometimes, I guess, we don't know exactly yet, but it looks like they become immune, or at least for a short while and maybe for life. But you fight through it. But what we'd like to do, if we can, is the vaccine. I think we're going to be successful in doing it, and hopefully by the end of the year.
I don't want to see 25,000 people where you have empty seats all over the place because of distancing.
When do you think we could get back to that, Mr. President? How long is this going to take to get back to normalcy?
Yeah, I think we're going to have a vaccine by the end of the year. We're doing very well with the vaccine. And I will tell you something. I just literally left a meeting. We're mobilizing our military and other forces, but we're mobilizing our military on the basis that we do have a vaccine. You know, it's a massive job to give this vaccine. Our military is now being mobilized, so at the end of the year, we're going to be able to give it to a lot of people very, very rapidly.
And you're just doing something with syringes as well, so that you can have it plentiful.
That's right.
You have enough vaccine.
We will have the tremendous force, because assuming we get it, then you have to distribute it.
Right.
And unless you're mobilized and ready, you're not going to be able to do it for a long time. So we're starting now. We're of the assumption that by the end of the year, we're going to have a vaccine, and then we have to be able to give it, to use it on most of our population.
Yeah.
Now we'll focus on elderly. We're going to focus on nursing home and you know, senior citizen centers, because that's really, if you look at it, that is a very vulnerable group.
This equation has four factors. A little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3.